Breyer's Music Showcase is brought to you by the people over at Patreon. Pledge today and get access to exclusive perks. Link in the description. Welcome to Breyer's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. And it's that time yet again for the monthly CD haul, where I go through all the CDs I acquired throughout the month and I give my first impressions on them. Pretty slow month. Gonna be straight up. I only was able to acquire 11 CDs here. I know, again, this year in general has been kind of slow in terms of purchases, which again, that might be a good thing. And I know this might potentially be the last CD haul of the year because I'm probably going to be saving more, kind of like how I did last year, unless people want to send me stuff, but that's besides the point. But hopefully you still look forward to what I have to show. As usual, there's always some fun surprises, even though it's not as many. Maybe there's going to be at least one CD that you're going to be kind of surprised or maybe a little bit happy to see. But if you have been looking forward to these, then don't forget to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to support the channel, links to the Patreon page is in the description. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first CD I'm going to be showing is probably a band no one really knows, but this is a band called Armageddon, and this is their self-titled debut and their only album. This is pretty much a one and done deal here. So I just got it because it kind of piqued my interest. The cover kind of fits that whole doomsday sort of aesthetic, I guess. And it looked like it was kind of like a 70s sort of band. And of course I did a little bit of research and it did come to that conclusion that yes, this is a mid-70s album. 1975 this came out. And they're kind of categorized as a hard rock, progressive rock act. There's only 5 songs on this album, and I pretty much enjoyed pretty much every song on here. You have Buzzard, Silver Tightrope, Paths and Planes, and Future Gains. That's a fun title to say. Last and Before, and then the last song is pretty much a medley, and the whole piece is called Basking in the White of the Midnight Sun. So pretty cool. So yeah, if you've not heard of this band and you're into more hard rock, progressive rock sort of sound, you might enjoy this one. You might have some fun with this. Don't have much else to say to this, but I'm kind of glad I got this. It's one of those moments where you just kind of blindly buy something just based on the cover, and you find a gem, and this is definitely a gem right here. Up next, we have Elton John with his official debut album, Empty Sky. So, I've heard a lot of mixed opinions on this album. You know, this was before he really made it big in America. He was still kind of finding his sound. There's a bit of like a pop, psychedelic sort of edge to this album. But I feel like it was bound to finally get this album because I have pretty much all the classic run, but never really got the time to find a copy of his first. And after giving it a listen, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's still him finding his voice. There are some decent songs, like the first song, Empty Sky, is pretty good. I think it was a pretty decent opening song, and that's one of the longer songs at over 8.5 minutes. Another song I kind of dug was Western Ford Getaway, with Sails, and you know, I guess Gulliver's Hey. It's kind of a medley, like Gulliver. It's Hey Jude, Hey Jude. It literally just clicked for me there, and then you have a little reprise. Like that's a decent kind of closing song, but the rest didn't quite interest me. There's not really that much like hooks or whatever. You know, Elton's voice still sounds fine, but again, he still is not the Elton John that we know yet. It's not until we get to the next album where I think that's where he truly found his voice, or at least getting in the right direction. But yeah, it's fine. And of course, this has this is the early version of Skylight and Pigeon. Of course, I vastly prefer the more later piano version, while this one's definitely more harpsichord. But yeah, it's fine. But is it essential? Probably not. It's only if you're really curious and you're kind of wondering what Elton John sounded this early. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Empty Sky. I don't know about you, but I feel like 2025 was definitely the year of the Kinks, because I have bought quite a bit of Kinks albums in recent time. And this is no exception. I actually was able to purchase 3 more. And those albums are Schoolboys in Disgrace, which came out in 1975. And then following that, we have 1978's Misfits. And then the last one I was able to pick up is called Low Budget, and this was basically the year after, from 1979. So of course we're going to start with Schoolboys in Disgrace, and by the way, not that great of an album cover, kind of weird, but besides that, so this is basically, I guess to most, this is considered the last of the quote-unquote theatrical period of the band, which they tried to do all these like concept albums or rock operas, I guess. I heard one prior, and that was Preservation Act 2. I wasn't that impressed with that one, so I wasn't sure what this was going to be like. But I am happy to say this is a lot better than Preservation Act 2. I think the songwriting is definitely much more up my alley, a little bit more conventional, and not as weird as Preservation Act 2. Of course, I will say some of the imagery is kind of creepy. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I would not want to see that in my nightmares. But anyway, so songs that I liked, you know, the first song, School Days. Then you have Education, The First Time We Fell in Love, I'm in Disgrace, Headmaster, The Hard Way, The Last Assembly, and No More Looking Back. So aside from 2 tracks, which of course Jack the Idiot Dunce, that's kind of one of my least favorites. And then you have Finale, which is just this 1-minute sort of short thing. The rest of the album, pretty good, pretty strong. So I'm pleasantly surprised. So there you go. Pretty happy about that. But to me, these next 2 are definitely my favorite of these 3 that I picked up. So we're going for Misfits next. And this is them definitely more of that traditional rock sound that we expect from the Kinks. Definitely a lot more catchier songs. And yeah, just kind of great kind of rockin' album. Favorite songs from this, we have the title track, Hay Fever, Live Life, A Rock and Roll Fantasy, Permanent Waves, not the Rush song, or the Rush album I should say, which funny enough, I think that was like 2 years prior. But in any case, Out of the Wardrobe, which was another one of their pretty ahead of its time sort of thing, if you really think about it. Trust Your Heart, and Get Up, which was the closing song. So yeah, this is definitely more up my alley. This is the type of music I definitely want the Kinks to be playing. Just some good old-fashioned rock, and kind of this period I'm really digging. And the same thing can be said about the next one, which is Low Budget. Again, a very similar sort of story, but I think I maybe prefer this one over Misfits just by a hair. I just think the songwriting, again, there's a much more bigger punch. The guitars are really good, and the choruses are a lot more memorable. And aside from maybe one song, which was in a Space, and also National Health was another one that didn't really click with me. Everything else is pretty good. And again, I made a Rush comparison before, but the last song's called Moving Pictures, which I don't know why there's so many Rush connections here. But Attitude was a good opening song. Catch Me Now, I'm Falling, Pressure, Wish I Could Fly Like Superman, the title track, a little bit of Emotion, A Gallon of Gas, and also Misery are another highlights on this album. All right, so but besides that, like, I'm very happy I got more Kinks. And again, this year I've been picking up a lot more Kinks, and I'm definitely starting to appreciate them a little bit more. I still wouldn't say they're like they're not like a top 20 band for me, but I would definitely want to give them more chances in the future, and we'll see. Maybe we'll find more Kinks albums, but only time will tell. But let's go ahead. Let's keep moving. Okay, and now we have Meet the Residents by The Residents. So as you can see by the album cover, I wonder where the inspiration came from. And yeah, the back cover is just as strange. But this is a group I know of, but I never really knew what exactly type of music that they made. But lo and behold, I got this at the record store, and I thought, why not give it a go? Oh, and by the way, before I mention, they even parodied the names. You have Paul McCrawfish, John Crawfish, which is kind of interesting. It's almost like they're related. George Crawfish, and then Ringo Starfish. Great puns there. So basically what this is, it's an experimental album, and yeah, I was not really a big fan of this. This was one of those cases, I think this is way too weird, even for me. I didn't really like anything on this thing. It's just, again, I kind of should have expected, because I looked them up. Of course, it said experimental, so I knew it was going to be weird, but for some reason, even I still wasn't prepared at the sheer nonsense that I listened to. I don't even remember. I think there was maybe one song that had some kind of a hook, but I don't even remember what that was. So again, this is kind of quick, but I know this is pretty well regarded in the sort of avant-garde scene, I guess. But I am not going to be one of those, unfortunately. But, you know, album cover is kind of interesting, kind of fun. So there's that. But yeah, I'm not really into this. All right, after this we have the Rolling Stones' debut, more specifically the US version of their debut, also known as England's newest hitmakers. After hearing The Residents and then coming to this was a huge breath of fresh air. That said, it's still not amazing, but I would rather hear this than The Residents. I will just to put it lightly. But yeah, I mean, I found this, and I thought it'd be cool to have like early Rolling Stones, like very early Rolling Stones. It's not my favorite period, but it's their debut, well, American debut, and I think it'd be kind of nice to own. But I think I've said this in the past. Again, this bluesy version of the band, it's not my favorite. I would rather hear their mid-60s, early 70s stuff, but that's just me. I know there's some people that love this period of the Stones. I'm not really one of them, but I do appreciate, like, this is basically where they started, and of course, this is just the beginning of a long, incredible career that this band has gone through. So I think, historically, I think it's pretty important, but just musically, it's just not my thing overall. But there are some songs I did enjoy. Of the 12 songs, only 5 I would consider going back to. Not Fade Away, Route 66, again, a lot of covers. I Just Want to Make Love to You, Little by Little, and You Can Make It If You Try. And then the rest is kind of fine. But I'd rather hear this in The Residents, I'll say it like that. But again, it's okay. It's a decent debut, but nothing to really write home about, at least for me, but still pretty important historically. Now here's one I was pretty interested to check out. The band is called Shocking Blue, and the whole album title is Shocking Blue at Home. So yeah, Shocking Blue, I know the name, and I know I've heard their song Venus in passing, which I believe was the biggest hit on here, and that would be cool. And I was pretty impressed, yet again. This is a pretty good album. This came out in 1969 originally. That said, this CD copy is not quite like the original track listing. I think they changed some songs around. So it's not like an authentic representation of what it was like originally. But still, I think most of the songs you want to hear are on this, so I guess it's okay. But yeah, they're kind of like this psychedelic bands, if you will, kind of psychedelic pop, rock thing. I don't know what you would actually classify them, but of course you have a female singer, and then of course you have some male vocalists too. And I think it sounds pretty good. I think there were some nice melodies, some nice rocking sort of songs, and again, vocally pretty good. Even the male singers, I was kind of surprised because I thought it would be like similar to a Jefferson Airplane, where Grace Slick's the big shot, but then you have everyone else, which I'm like, they're fine. This is not the case. So songs that I liked, again, I guess there's only 11 songs on this version of the album. So of the 11, we have Boll Weevil, I'll Write Your Name Through the Fire, Love Machine, I'm a Woman, of course Venus, of course, California Here I Come, another California song, Poor Boy, Long and Lonesome Road, and the last one I'll mention is the closing song, The Butterfly and I. So yeah, I would say check them out. This is pretty good if you're into more psychedelic rock, but definitely more on the conventional side. It's not that out there, if you know what I mean. But yeah, pretty solid, pretty good. And time to give my boy Ringo some love. I was very happy to find 2 more of his solo albums. We have Ringo's Rotogravure from 1976, and the other one being Time Takes Time from 1992. All right, so of course we're going to start with this one right here, Ringo's Rotogravure. I hate saying that, but whatever. So this is kind of Ringo's last real, like, commercially successful album, because after this we have Ringo the Fourth, which completely destroyed his commercial success. You know I'm drowning. But ignoring that fact, what do I think of this album? This is now my, I guess now I have 4 Ringo albums, so I think this is the follow-up to Goodnight Vienna, if I'm not mistaken. And my thoughts are, it's actually decent. Again, it's not like amazing or anything, but I think there's some nice songs here. Still has a little bit of that fun nature that we expect from Ringo. Songs that I highlighted were A Dose of Rock and Roll, Hey Baby, You Don't Know Me at All, and I know it's kind of a dumb song, but I actually kind of like Cookin' in the Name of Love, mainly because of Klaus Voormann's bass work on that one. Very good stuff on that. I even like I'll Still Love You, which is a George song. I know George sued him because of this song, but I don't know, it might be a hot take. I kind of like that one. This Be Called a Song from Eric Clapton, I think. That's really, you're not hiding anything, Eric. Then there's like songs I don't care for, but then the other song I highlighted was Lady Gay. But definitely has some weird spots, like the closing song is called Spooky Weirdness, and it lives up to that title, I'll say that. So not the strongest thing I've heard from Ringo, but again, there's some good moments on here, so it's not a bad time. But I will say, this one definitely surprised me. Yeah, Time Takes Time, sorry. This is a really strong album. Like, this was basically him trying to do like a comeback. It still didn't really sell that well or chart really at all, but it's kind of seen as Ringo's comeback after so many years of his rocky like ups and downs. This is one of his most concise ones. And I agree. I definitely think this is a very strong album. Definitely, so far, one of my favorite Ringo albums I've heard. 10 tracks, simple, gets to the point. And there's really only 2 songs I thought were just okay, but the rest, really good stuff. Like Way of the World, Don't Know a Thing About Love, Don't Go Where the Road Don't Go, Golden Blunders, All in the Name of Love, Runaways, In a Heartbeat, and I really enjoyed the closing song, What Goes Around. Yeah, produced really well, Ringo sounds good, And again, just has that fun time Ringo that we all know and love. So very happy to find these. Maybe we'll find more Ringo albums. I know they're pretty rare to find in the wild. I mean, this one was pretty expensive. I think this was the most expensive CD out of this entire haul. But again, gotta give love to Ringo. Peace and love. And the last CD, I know we're at the end already, but the last CD is called So Jealous, and it's by a duo called Tegan and Sara. Now, Tegan and Sara are a kind of a twin sister duo, and they're fairly well known, I think. I think a good chunk of people have heard of them in passing, maybe. You might know a song from them, because I know I just found out not that long ago that they also provided a song for the Lego movie. You probably know what I'm talking about. Everything is awesome. I would have never made that connection. But I knew them already because I do know a different song from them. It was called BWU, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know how I heard that song, but I remember really liking that one. It's not on this album, unfortunately, but I mean, it's close enough. I might as well get an album by them because I kind of dug the sound of that song. And yeah, another good find here. Like, I definitely want to check out more from them. They're kind of this indie pop, indie rock sort of thing. And I think it sounds great. I like the sound of their voices. I think there's some good songwriting on this. Some lot of good hooks. It's just produced really well. And I definitely would recommend this one. Again, when did this come out? This came out, I believe, like 2004. So this is kind of still early for them. But I pretty much dug it. It also has a little bit of like a, I guess, not quite a punk sort of thing. Like, it's very mild. Like, it's not so punk that it's gonna drive you away if you're not into that. Like, it's just little hints of it, like little sprinkles, and maybe a tinge of a gothic thing. Very small though. But songs that I really enjoyed were You Wouldn't Like Me, Take Me Anywhere, I Bet It Stung, I Know, Where Does the Good Go, Downtown, Walking with a Ghost, Speak Slow, We Didn't Do It, and I Can't Take It. So there you go, Tegan and Sara, So Jealous. Again, if you are familiar with these two, please let me know other albums I should check out by them, because I am very interested. Well, yeah, that's it. That's all the CDs that we have today. And because we have so little, might as well do a little recap. So let's go in reverse order. We have Tegan and Sara, So Jealous. Then we have Ringo Starr with Time Takes Time, and then Ringo's Rotogravure. Then we have Shocking Blue at Home. The Rolling Stones, England's Newest Hits Maker. The Residents, Meet the Residents. Then we have the Kinks with Low Budget, Misfits, Schoolboys in Disgrace. Then it's Elton John, Empty Sky. And finally, we have Armageddon with their self-titled album. All right, so pretty varied, of course. I mean, that's to be expected when you're on this channel. Again, not as much, but I think there's still some good stuff here. And again, if this is the last CD haul of the year, this is a pretty decent one to go out. And if I don't get any more, then of course 2026 we'll pick it back up, and should be some fun stuff, of course. But besides that, hopefully you have enjoyed this CD haul. Of course, in the comments, please let me know your thoughts on any of the albums that I showed, and I just hope you enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until then, I will see you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye for now.